Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Respected judges and dear audience, Assalamu alaikum. My name is Dr. Laiba Asif and I'm a first year resident at Mughal Eye Hospital, Lahore. And today I will bubble away the cone with you all. So, moving on to my presentation, our patient was a 20-year-old male who presented to us with a complaint of decreased vision. The patient was a student by profession and was resident of Hanjarwal, Lahore. So the decrease in vision was gradual and painless in both eyes, and it was not associated with any other symptoms. The patient's systemic, medical, and surgical history was unremarkable, and he had been using glasses for the past 7 to 8 years. We examined the patient, and on our clinical examination, the best corrected visual acuity in both eyes was counting fingers. His anterior segment showed us a conical protrusion of the cornea, which was also evident on distant direct ophthalmoscopy, showing us a positive oil droplet sign, and scissoring reflex on retinoscopy. So the conical protrusion of the cornea and the thinning of the cornea was present in both eyes with positive Munson sign and presence of Vox stria in the left eye. The rest of the examination was unremarkable. So we ordered the investigations of the patient, including the corneal topography. Here you can see in the topography maps that there is extreme thinning and steepening of the cornea is present in the right eye, and as well as the left eye there is present the same picture, and we can see that the disaster is in front of our eyes. So now what do? We discussed the management options with our patient. So, are we gonna prescribe glasses to this patient? No, because the disease was quite advanced and the patient had significant difficulty in his both eyes and in his life. So, the next option are rigid gas permeable lenses a good option? Yes, but for this patient, we had an issue of non compliance and patient was also non willing. So the next option was intracorneal ring segments. The intracorneal ring segments were not an ideal choice for this patient as the corneal thickness was approximately 350 microns in his both eyes and there were issues with affordability. So our final plan was keratoplasty, and the procedure we chose was deep anterior lamellar keratoplasty, thus giving my presentation the name Bubbling Away the Cone. The deep anterior lamellar keratoplasty was performed in his right eye in October 2023 and his left eye in February 2024. The surgical technique we used was the big bubble technique. This is the right eye of the patient, and you can see the big bubble is being injected in the plane between the Descemet's membrane and the posterior stroma. This is the video of the left eye of the patient with the big bubble being successfully achieved. Next, we dissect away the posterior stroma, and we are left with a bare Descemet's membrane after the stromal dissection, which is evident by the presence of an intact air bubble in the anterior chamber. The graft is then prepared by peeling carefully off the Descemet's membrane from the graft. Here you can see that after staining and marking, the Descemet is being carefully peeled off from the graft. Hence, we are left with a Descemet-free graft, which is then sutured onto the host bed. This is the final result after suturing, and this shows the right eye of the patient. Moving on, we kept the patient on steroids and kept him under our follow-up. His best corrected visual acuity in the right eye improved to 6.9 from counting fingers, and his left eye improved to 6.24 from counting fingers with correction. This is the post-op picture in which we can see that the graft is beautifully adhered. The post-op picture in the right eye is at 6 months post-op, and in the left eye is 3 months post-op. So why did we choose lamellar keratoplasty as a procedure of choice as compared to the PKP, which has been standard of care for the past 10 decades, 5 to 6 decades? Over the last 1.5 decades, DALC has been emerging as a mostly preferred procedure because DALC preserves the host endothelium. It gives us a better long-term survival rate of the graft, gives us better long-term endothelial cell counts. It is a closed system operation and does not require an open sky like in penetrating keratoplasty. In terms of best corrected visual acuity and topographic astigmatism, the results are similar in both PKP and DALC, but DALC gives us a decreased risk of complications as compared to the penetrating keratoplasty. Also, we can use a lower quality graft as compared to PKP, which requires a much higher quality graft. These are the references that I used in my presentation. Our patient is still with us in his follow-up, and he's a very happy patient. Now he has also given an international language exam, and he's very happy with his outcome. Thank you.